ran away with the Eastern Conference. They've been dominant, and so it's a big task. That's clear, and so we've just got to try to make it as hard as possible on them. Go ahead, just yell.
The answer may very well be no. But is there anything about playing in the play-in and scouting, or not the play-in, the in-season tournament, not getting as far as you that translates or correlates to this current run that you're on?
Those experiences help, for sure. There were some real playoff simulations. Our quarterfinal game at home on a Monday night against these guys was, it had the feel of a conference finals matchup, atmosphere. So yeah, that, and then the part about going to Vegas and playing there, that was different. But there was certainly the exposure, the stage, all that, and so all those experiences help a young team.
Nelson, you've obviously done this before. You've won a title. You've got such a new team in terms of playoff experience. Do you find yourself talking to the younger guys about what this is like, what to expect? Do you find that this is something they really want to hear?
I don't think that mic works. All right. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, you do have to try to prepare your guys, and with the understanding that this generation of player is not interested in hearing a bunch of stuff about the '80s, and so we have a lot of experience on our staff. Everybody kind of hits everybody, but we also have to have the understanding that you have to go through it to really experience what it's all about. We try to help prepare them for those experiences, but there's nothing like going through it. Like Game 5 in Milwaukee, Game 5 in New York. I mean, those are experiences where there's an avalanche coming at you, and you can try to explain what's coming, but after winning a couple of consecutive games or 3 consecutive games in a playoff series, it's just you have to experience it to understand it.
Hi, Rick. Along those same lines, after such an emotional series, do you guard against a letdown, even though it is the conference finals?
Who said it was emotional?
Good.
It appeared to be.
It's, well, if it was, then Milwaukee was too, and so, we've been doing this for a little over a month now, I think, and so, the next part of this is learning to go to the next stage, and so, we talked a lot about Boston's team. We played them 5 times this year. So, a couple of, like Milwaukee, we played 5 times. Boston, we played 5 times regular season. So it's almost like before the league expanded. We have a lot of experiences playing these guys, and we know how great they are. So. How good they are is a bigger obstacle than the emotions of the last series or the series before. That's probably the case.
We've obviously talked with you about depth all year, going back to preseason camp and everything. And you guys, so far in these playoffs, your bench guys have played more minutes and scored more points than anybody else's bench. Just how important is that group in just one, the production they've got, but also just what they've allowed you to do through 2 full series? The fact that you've got that much production out of those guys, and now it allows you to play the starters a little less and kind of keep everybody fresh.
Well, it's how this team is being built. We're by no means to the finish line. But as we got into the beginning parts of last year, we were playing 9 or 10 guys most of last year. This year it was 9 or 10 guys. In the playoffs, at times it's been 8 or 9 guys. But we need to have that kind of balance and distribution of statistical balance to be successful. We have to have a level of a high level of intensity, force, pressure, that we try to put on the opponents. I mean, it's going to be an even bigger challenge against these guys because of their size and skill level. But that's the goal.
Wanted to ask you about Halliburton and just what have you seen from the way that the city and franchise has sort of embraced Halliburton, and how does a year that he's had, from the All-Star game, the in-season tournament, and this playoff run, how do you think that sort of helps it grow, maybe as far as just like being sort of the face of you guys' franchise?
Well, the playoff experience, the playoff moments, being able to advance, his exceptional game in Game 7, these are things that really endear a fan base to a franchise player. That's how Reggie Miller made his mark with the Pacers over 18 years. And so, yeah, and as it's gone along, he's been humble and he's learned a lot, and he's been very humble about the lessons learned, and that's a special young star, that has both the belief, the confidence, but also the humility and the personality, So, Tyrese is a very, very special guy.
Tyrese and TJ were very successful playing together in Game 7. They've been good at it in the playoffs. They're good at it in the regular season. What do you like about that 2-point guard look? And maybe what is it about those two that they can actually pull that off?
Yeah, I mean, they've played together more in the playoffs than the regular season. It's just it's a simple matter that we've needed to get TJ in the games quicker, and so as they've played together, they've developed the ability to play well together. Sometimes in the regular season, when those guys play together, it wasn't super smooth, So, but it goes to show you how learning on the fly in these intense situations can help things along quicker. So, but those two guys have adjusted well to it. They bring both of their strengths to the game, and so it's been a positive, and they're certainly going to play together some in this series.
Hi, Eric. How has Siakam changed the way you can approach things? And you were also just talking about learning as you go, but he's a guy that's already won.
Yeah. Really good question. I mean, he's been there. He's done it. But when he was on that team, he was the third or fourth guy. Right. And so now he's stepped up into a primary role. He and Tyrese are the two guys, and so his experience is very important to us. He has a naturally calm demeanor and a calm presence. He doesn't get rattled. His personality stays consistent. When things get frantic in games, he's a calming influence on our young guys, and so he's been really important. And certainly the game he had in Game 7 of the New York series was much needed. But he has had an influence also, with our other guys being able to play so well in Game 7. I think too, just because he just has a real consistent approach and a real I keep saying calming demeanor, calming influence, but he does have that.
Just if I can, just quickly, can I follow up real quickly?
Yeah, go
Just
ahead.
specifically for this team now, adding Siakam, how does that change how you can approach the Celtics?
Well, it comes down to what the matchups are going to look like, and these guys are like almost impossible to match up with. Really, I mean,